Yo, what's going on, guys? We're going to go over today's trade recap and market recap today. Today, I did end up taking a trade today, and unfortunately enough, it was a loss. Now, was this trade avoidable? Was this loss avoidable, I should say? Yeah, it was, right? It definitely was. Slight human error from me today. I mean, not really. I still did like the idea of the trade, but I kind of got a little bit too caught up in things and disregarded a key element to the model and why it has such a high win rate. And that was the main reason why this trade was completely avoidable. And the loss was completely avoidable, I should say. So overall, coming into market open, it's a pretty obvious bullish bias up to these three draws on liquidity. We have higher time frame, low resistance, building up to an internal high, building up to just honestly straight bullshit. Because if we just look at the daily time frame here and we want to look at it, like, this is really, really bad price action on the daily time frame. So all these targets in my eyes are literally just failure swings. They're just failure swings, and it's just LR on top of LR on top of LR. So they're pretty good targets inside of this buy model that we were currently in. So yeah, let's go into it. But the one thing wrong with this structure here is that we had a huge push in the overnight session and the PM session. Yeah, as you can see in the overnight session and New York PM session, even yesterday, we just rallied, right? We rallied really high yesterday without any retrace, causing us to be extremely overextended. And when there's days like this where we're extremely overextended, we usually just keep extending higher until we like take out a draw like this, or we have a retrace, right? Or we just like really start chopping around and we don't really know where we want to go, and then we end up doing whatever. But overall, coming into the day, obviously leaning definitely a lot more bullish because we are in like a buy model, higher time frame buy model, and we are on like a literal bull run to all-time highs by the looks of things at the moment. So yeah, coming into market open, I had two conditions for myself. So the condition that I had down here was if we were going to be super bullish, we might retrace to this hourly gap. Yeah, okay, now that I'm like genuinely thinking about it, this trade was 100% avoidable. Good loss though, good lesson. Obviously still learning, still growing, and this was definitely an unavoidable trade. But I did like the idea. ES also kind of accompanied the idea, which is why I liked it a little bit more. So yeah, we had this hourly gap with LR leading up to it. What I did want to see on market open, if this did happen, was if we manipulated into this hourly gap, got an inversion from there. That would have been a clean 930 play, because this is just low resistance here, even though it is London session liquidity. It's a low resistance liquidity protected by nothing really. So I would have liked to see us manipulate into that hourly gap for us to then take out London session highs, with also this low resistance liquidity pool right here being an added target to that draw on liquidity. Pretty simple stuff. So coming into market open to see what we do. Market open. Right. Market open ends up kind of just opening higher here, and then we end up taking out London session liquidity. Now, I wasn't too concerned about this, to be honest, because this was just LR leading up to even more higher time frame LR, so it's nothing really that deep. Was still definitely bullish bias off of this. Condition wise though, like on the S&P 500 we literally had like no gaps, and then on the Nasdaq we had this hourly gap down here. So I did want to see that kind of get hit for me to take longs, but I was also willing, like if anything else was happening, I'll show you why I did end up taking this long. Let me just mark this out just to kind of justify my reasoning more. But this was definitely an avoidable loss, by the way, guys. I'm not going to say that this was a good trade. This was pretty mid, but it's fine. We learned from it, and we don't do it again. It was just a very simple mistake which caused this, and let's go over it. So here we go, and then we get presented with this. So this is like a massive down candle here. I don't like this. Reason being is because there's no key level supporting us going lower, and higher time frame is extremely bullish. So I just couldn't really see this like being a valid entry. I was debating about taking, if we had like a reaction off the CISD, could have taken a short because we do have good targets lower. It would have been a bit ballsy because of how bullish the higher time frame is, but we do have LR leading up to an unfilled hourly gap, so there is definitely reason for us to go lower. But obviously, as you can see here, price is just moving extremely weird. This was already like the first sign for me to really be cautious and only take a really good setup, which I kind of ignored today, which is kind of tunnel visioned, which does happen to me sometimes. I get a little bit tunnel visioned, and it's still something I'm working on, so hey, it is what it is. Everybody's human error. What can you do? You can only just grow and improve and learn. But this was super whack price action. Like, we opened higher, right? And then what could you expect if we open higher, take out London session lows or highs? Probably at least go to this LR, take out this LR, go to the hourly gap, right? No, we just continue going higher here. and we respect a 5-minute gap. Now, I really didn't like this 5-minute gap. I know people did end up taking longs from this 5-minute gap. I know a few people did ended up like taking an entry like right here or here. But the thing about this is like this 5-minute gap. Why is this 5-minute gap so poor in my opinion? The reason why this 5-minute gap is super poor is because we just took out a major liquidity pool, being London session highs. So this liquidity kind of has to go somewhere. And do we really think that the liquidity option that we want to go to and take out to then continue going higher is going to be this 5-minute fair value gap? Well, we have a low resistance liquidity built up here towards a hourly unfilled. Right, like that's sort of like the logic I was seeing here. I wasn't a fan of this long at all. The rejection wick as well on this final candle also even took out the high here. So any entry here is like, I don't know. It's super sketchy, man. But if you had conviction, you had conviction. So then let's get into the long that I ended up taking, which was this right here. Now, yeah, nah, bro. Looking back at this, it kind of stings a little bit because this was 100% human error and I shouldn't have done this. But this is kind of my reasoning for it. So we ended up doing this, respecting this 5-minute gap. And when we respect this 5-minute gap, this is technically now a sponsored range because we have a range here. But the problem with this range is there's no key level inside of this range. And what is the significance of there not being a key level? Right? Obviously, ICT doesn't move the market. It's very good and it can show you how to read the market in a sense and get good entries and have a strategy that works, but it doesn't directly move the market, right? But the problem with this, why there's no gaps here, more times than not, when there's no gaps here, it usually results in bad price action. Like no fair value gaps usually means bad price action. And as you can see here, we just go open high, go low, don't even take out a liquidity pool, go higher, kind of mess around here, and then we manipulate into this range here, and we manipulate into 0.62 of this range. And when we did this as well, the S&P 500 ended up coming into this range that I have marked out here, and it ended up, where was this? Yeah, it was right here. So this is 950-ish. We end up coming into this range, sweeping out this little pool of liquidity, and we end up tapping a 5-minute fair value gap, or was it 15? Re-sweeping a 15-minute fair value gap, and then going higher here. If we go to this time as well, this was 958. So 958 was my entry, which is right here. So like at this point, both assets really do not look like they want to manipulate lower, and they've both manipulated inside of a range pretty well. And we have an SMT with the low here inside of a key level. So I was pretty confident in us at least at bare minimum going to this 945 high, taking out this internal high, which is where I was going to go break even. Now, the thing is about this trade, I actually don't really believe the reason why this trade failed was, it definitely failed for a reason. But the 10 a.m. news when it came out was nuts. I was just going for a 1-to-1 here, going for all 3 draws, because I just wanted to see super bullish price action kind of carry us higher here. But there is a lot of things wrong with this setup. Like, in my mind, this is probably like, in the moment, I thought of it as like an A-rated setup, but that was just me being tunnel visioned. Like, there's no key level here. Like, sure, there was a 5-minute that we're delivering off of and we made a new range, but if we go to the, like, there's no key level. Like, none. No 3-minute, no 2-minute, not even a 4-minute, nothing. Nothing for us to genuinely move higher. Like, there was a CISD, but, like, no key level, being in the form of a fair value gap to deliver us higher towards draws is, that's already something wrong with price action itself, showing that price action is pretty poor, and we're not accumulating, manipulating, distributing, we're kind of just doing whatever. And, yeah, no key level to send us higher, showing that it's just kind of poor price action, so I probably 100% should have faded this, and this was definitely a fade day. This was a no-trade day, but I gave this a shot because I like the displacement here. Through this, we failed to go lower after tapping this 1 minute, reject off this small little rejection block that we have at 0.62, and then we displace higher here, and both assets now are actively displacing higher towards this high. So I gave it a shot. I said, you know what, let me give this a shot. It looks pretty good, and I do believe that at minimum we will go to this high. And then out of nowhere, 10 a.m. opens, and boom. This 10 a.m. candle, like, if you were on the charts today and you've seen this 10 a.m. candle, like, it was literally accumulating 10 a.m. open, and it went bang. It went instantly straight down, and at this point, I was like, okay, I'm cooked. This trade is 100% cooked, and of course, it stopped me out right there, and then right on the next candle, which is unfortunate, but it is what it is, and I do believe, okay, maybe, but I do believe if 10 a.m. news didn't have a negative impact on the market, it's very strange. Orange folder news having a reaction like this is kind of crazy, but I'd say we would have at least went to this internal high. Like, we were definitely, both assets were 100% actively displacing towards this internal high. There wasn't really a strong reason for it to not go to that internal high at minimum, in my opinion anyway. So this trade wasn't like bad or anything. It was just there was definitely things lacking, which is like a major no, which is no key level for that's really setting us higher. There's low resistance liquidity at a major liquidity pool below. Neither asset really manipulated into any key level. The only good thing about this trade was the displacement, the range, the drawn liquidities, and the bullish bias. But the key levels and the things that really matter when it comes to sending price higher weren't really there. So it was definitely an avoidable loss, but hey, it is what it is. Like, I'm not going to cry over it. It's whatever. We live and we learn. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I think we did end up getting a pretty solid short setup, but again, short setup, like, just look at this price action. Like, this price action is just really, really poor. I think the short setup was like right here. Yeah, here it was. It was like we manipulated inside this little range that we had going on in a 3-minute fair value gap, and then there's like a 1-minute inversion here. We had your stop here, targeted a 1-to-1, went break even at the hourly, at the lows here, where the hourly gap is, and this just flushed it straight to TP. So this is trade of the day for sure. For sure, trade of the day was this 1028 1-minute inversion. But even at that, like, this trade is really, really lacking anything. It's lacking a lot of sponsorship. It's lacking things that you'd like to see. But it did play out. And yeah, this is trade of the day, and this being trade of the day shows everything, because this is like a 3-minute continuation in a really, really shitty, choppy range, so it is what it is. I guess the good thing about this, though, is a pretty obvious draw on liquidity. Failure swing to added more liquidity to the LR down below towards this hourly gap, 1-minute inversion, manipulation in the range, 3 minutes to send us lower, but everything else except for that was pretty poo. So yeah, I did just instantly get off after this, because obviously one and done, I don't want to break my rules. I'm not an idiot who breaks rules and cries when they lose. This was a loss, and I knew when I hit stop loss that it was definitely an avoidable loss, and even in the moment I was kind of almost accepting the fact when I entered that it was. If it was going to lose, it was definitely avoidable. But I did give it a stab because I was pretty confident in higher just because of how we manipulated inside the range on both assets. But it is what it is, man. What can you do? Going to be trading. I lost around $600 today, so pretty heavy. But it's fine. Like, we're going to go slightly heavier on the risk, risking around 550, 600-ish, because we are on a pro account. And if you guys don't know the difference between a pro and a flex, especially when it comes to Lucid or just in any prop firm in general, pro accounts are a lot harder to trade. Like, that's without question. Pro accounts are super hard to trade. Reason being is because on a flex account, for example, if you get 5 winning days, you can take a payout. That's it. No biggie, whatever. Doesn't matter what your balance is. You don't need to build a buffer. You can take a payout. However, the thing with pro accounts, if you guys don't know, when you're on a funded pro account, you actually have to build a buffer. And that buffer isn't really anything small. It's a $2,100 buffer. So you have to make $2,100 on the account before you can even think about getting a payout. And the minimum payout is $500. So you need to take the minimum payout on a pro account on Lucid or on any firm that has the same rules. You need to make $2,600 on that account before you can even request the minimum payout, which is difficult. Like, let's not all sit here and pretend we're Superman. That is very, very difficult to do, especially if you're following the rules and have your set risk management of $500 or whatever it is. That's going to take you like a while to do, right? So the thing is how I did this is I did that and I went through all that, and then I got my payout of $600, and then from there on I was like, you know what, this is a pro account, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to start risking slightly heavier, and I'm just going to go for max payout. I'm just going to go for max payout. I'm going to go for $2,000 max payout. I'm going to try to get the account of 54 grand, so I'm going to get the account of $4,000 in profit, and then take a $2,000 max payout. That is my goal with this account. I'm going to be trading it a lot more aggressively. That's what I would have done from the start if I hadn't have gotten a payout before. So this is the first payout, so obviously I made my $700 or whatever it was above buffer, and I just took that because it was my first payout, and I know I would regret not taking the first payout when it was the opportunity to do so. So obviously that is the reason behind why I did that. And honestly, overall, after taking my first payout, the nerves have definitely settled a lot. Hesitation is not really there anymore. I kind of just take what I like. Today was kind of this was very hasty. This was an extremely hasty setup, but I gave it a go. Because I have seen setups like this play out multiple times. What I would rate this setup is probably like a B-. It's definitely not A plus, nowhere near. But it was solid. It was worth a stab in my opinion. And I do kind of believe, it might be a bit cope saying this, if 10 a.m. news wasn't this negative, it definitely would have been at least bare minimum break even, potentially even take profit. But I would say it definitely would have been a break even trade just because of how bad kind of price action was moving within this range. But yeah, the goal is to get max payout now with this Lucid account, with this professional or with this pro account. Get max payout. If we don't get max payout, it's okay, it's whatever. But I do believe I will get max payout with this account, no doubt in my mind. I know I'm a good trader. I know I can do this. But even if I don't, no biggie. Already made 10x off of this account. Already made my $680 in payout, and I only paid $60 for the account. So like, obviously, already extracted the money that is worth from this account. Already, if we don't manage to get that payout, that's completely fine. But I do strongly believe I will. But after this, either way, after taking this max payout, or let's just say, touch wood, I don't blow the account and do something stupid. I don't believe I will do that. But we're going to be scaling up. So we're going to be going from... We're going to chalk the pro accounts completely, by the way, because like obviously there's a reason why you see these traders, like, even just let me name some big names in the space, like Ronin, Bionic NQ, or PB Blake, or Timmy, even if you guys know Timmy, going crazy. Like, these guys have like 20 accounts across multiple different firms. Like, I don't know how much Ronin has, probably like 10 or whatever. But you'll notice one thing that is very, very obvious with the accounts that they have. None of them are pro accounts, because why would they ever have pro accounts when they can have flex accounts, or accounts that can, whenever they want to take a payout on them, really after 5 winning days, they can. Obviously, that is a lot more optimal to do when it comes to scaling, because you don't have to build a ridiculous buffer on that account before you can take a payout, and you can just do whatever. So the flex accounts are definitely the better option once you are confident in your trading ability and your trading skill, which I definitely am. So yeah, overall, it is what it is. Unfortunate loss today. Nothing to cry over, is what it is. Minus $600, but you know, no doubt in my mind that I will bring this account back up and hopefully be getting max payout in the near future with this account. I'm going to be slightly more aggressive with risking around $600-ish, $700-ish per trade. And yeah, except for that, that's going to be it for today's trade recap, guys. Overall, pretty shitty price action today. Definitely a fade day in my opinion. Obviously, I did end up being a bit hasty and taking the trade, a bit of a discretionary trade, and I did end up paying the price for that, for not following a few simple model rules, you could say, without having a key level ready to deliver us higher. And obviously, just this is like completely just recognizing poor market conditions. Like, this is completely poor market conditions. Like, how much did we even move overall? Like, this is kind of the lowest we went during New York. Like, we moved inside of an 150 point range in a sense, like, for literally the entire session. Like, really, really bad price action. So it is what it is. And yeah, if you guys have any questions, leave them in the comments below. I have my Instagram, TikTok, and Discord in the bio of this video. If you want to shout me on any 3 of those platforms, feel free to go ahead and ask me any any questions got to do with trading that you have personally. And except for that, I will catch you guys in the next video, and I hope you have a blessed rest of your evening, or whenever you're watching this, wherever you're watching this. I hope you have a blessed rest of your day, and I will catch you guys in the next trade recap, which will be tomorrow. So except for that, peace out.